Save the Prairie Society is an organization trying to preserve Chicagoland's natural and cultural heritage, but most importantly, trying to represent to Chicagoans what this place was like and how the natural ecosystem functioned back in around, the pre-white settlement times. The society was officially founded in 1974. Right now, our main standing member is and current president has been around since that time. They recognized back in the 70s that this plot of land here in Westchester, at the time undeveloped, was actually a remnant prairie. They were convicted that they had to save this and preserve it and try to restore it to the state that it would have been in it when the first settlers and surveyors were here. The main goal here is to, through the Prairie House, not only provide a perspective on that cultural side of our local heritage, but also to provide a space for Chicagoans to do with really whatever they want. Given looser social distancing, this could be given as a venue, it could be used as a gallery, it's used as an event space. It's, you could have a yoga class here or a wedding too if you wanted. But most interestingly, we're trying to provide, artistic services, and that kind of helps us, that gives us some outreach, and it gives us funding to continue doing what we do over here on the prairie. We are a nonprofit, so all the members, all the money that we make goes straight into the prairie or into the house. We have a lot of associations with local naturalists and scientists. Most of the people who are on the board are activists and historians, and largely self-trained naturalists. A lot of the professional help that we get comes from the Forest Preserve, the State Nature Preserve Department, and the Morton Arboretum as well. So it's mostly just a very enthusiastic bunch. So the prairie itself was founded somewhere between 10 and 15,000 years ago. The second ice age, as the glaciers receded, they laid down loads and loads of silt and sand and clay and some rocks, which over time, as the glaciers continued to recede and the lake shore took its current shape, the plants here started to adapt to the very harsh conditions, and they were able to solve problems through the thousands of years of adaptations, such as how to deal with the constant exposure to the sun, to dryness, to wind and heat. They learned how to deal with constant wildfires. They were a frequent occurrence, and flooding, inundation, storms, blizzards, frost, just everything. To the point where now these plants and fungi and the soils that they together have created over the course of 10,000 years has a solution to all of those problems. They've figured out what to do about wildfires. They've figured out what to do about floods. They've figured out what to do about storms. And they're remarkably efficient at handling it, more so than anything humans have come up with in, our last 10,000 years. So that's why it's significant. That's why it's meaningful to Chicagoans, and why we think that more people deserve to have an understanding of it, because it's a privilege to have left what we do. There used to be 22 million acres of tall grass prairie in Illinois. We have 0.01% of that now, which is very hard to visualize. So look at this prairie behind you and imagine 2 parking spaces. Those 2 parking spaces are how much prairie we have now, and this 76.5 acres is all the prairie that used to be. So we want people to understand that most of the problems we face as a society nowadays, climate change being obviously one of the biggest ones, but almost all the damage that we've done to our environments like prairies that are left over contain natural, efficient, self-formed, and self-operating answers, solutions to those things. The more we understand about it, the more we understand what we have to do to save ourselves. For visitors and volunteers alike, I'll make a note that right now, while we always love having volunteers, we cannot accept any until further notice via the usual sign-up sheet. So you're still welcome to come and visit. We'll still be having socially distanced events, and you're still welcome to not only reach out to us to host your own events here, but also, of course, to attend or subscribe to any. As for coming to the prairie, same rules as usual, except that when you come to the Prairie House, you have to wear a mask at all times. There's a limit on how many people can be in here. We ask you to socially distance while you're out on the prairie, and we ask you to stay on trail as well, as a sign of respect for this landscape. It doesn't take a lot to irreversibly damage it. We ask you not to forage anything, don't pick anything, leave nothing here, and take nothing from it.